we're going to look at how to find slope from a table or points. And we're really going to focus on this one, 2 points. Why do I need 2 points in order to find the slope of something? Please don't do that.
Sorry. You need to know where the line goes to?
Because, like you were mentioning, you're hinting at what I want.
Or you won't have a line if you don't have
So how do we create a line? We create a line by having 2 points and connecting them. So we need at minimum 2 points to create a line. So I'm going to focus on points because what is a table? A table is just a bunch of
numbers.
Points. And here's what I mean. Before we move forward, let's look at a table and let's look at an example of what I mean by points.
That was an immaculate Y.
Thank you. -2, 7, 3, 8. How about, oh man, I gotta do this. That's so 8, 9. I think that's correct. Now, each of those things, each of these 3 things are what? They're just points. And what do we mean by a point? What did we call them yesterday? What's a better name than point? So at the top of your paper, write this thing down. These are not just called points. In algebra, we call these ordered pairs. And ordered pairs are what, comma, what? Anyone remember from yesterday? Okay, x, comma, y. So, do I need to actually do anything with tables at all if we understand that this is just, the table is just points, right? So, let's write these as points. So, Brylan, give me this first thing as a ordered pair. Which one goes first?
X, so -2.
Okay, and then,
It's 7.
yeah. So when we look at a table, realize it's simply just a collection of points. So we don't need to do both tables and points. We can just focus on points because a table is just points. Okay, what about the other 2? What would those be? 3, 8, and 8, comma, 9. Okay, so ordered pairs is important. Notice on the paper, I apologize that everything is smaller than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. So what I want us to do is look at number 1. Okay, number 1 says 19, comma, -16, and -7, -15. And so what we want to do is we want to use these 2 points to create a slope somehow. So yesterday we wrote down m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So this is the standard formula. This is the most common formula that you will see for slope. Okay? So we're going to do this the long way, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut. Okay? So we're going to do this the long way first. Let's label each point. We'll call this point 1 and this point 2. So on your paper, label them point 1 and point 2. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So I've taken the first point and I've labeled this my first x and my first y. I've taken the second point and I've labeled it my second x and my second y. Questions so far? Question? Please ask. So now we're going to fill them in. What is the first piece that I should write down? What's the first piece I should write down?
You have to
Read it to me. What is this? Y2, which is what value?
15.
Negative 15.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, great.
I got it.
Okay, and then it says minus,
I just have to think about it.
minus, and why did I put the minus in parentheses? Because y1 is also what? Negative. Okay. So I would encourage you, anytime you have a negative value, you could even put the 15 there in parentheses. Okay, now which one of those numbers from the x's goes first?
19.
Which one's x2?
Oh, wait.
Negative 7. It's okay. And then x1 is 19. So now we just subtract. So what is negative 15 minus a negative 16? Wow. What's minus a negative?
Negative 31.
Hold on. What's minus a negative? Add. So minus a negative means add. So what's negative 15 plus 16? 1. So remember, minus a negative means add. So the numerator here is just 1. Like I said, we're going to do this multiple ways, and the second way is easier, okay? Now, what's on the denominator? What's negative 7 minus 19? Think you owe money and you borrow more?
26.
So negative 26. So the slope for this function is that. 1 over the negative 26. Okay, so that's a lot of work, right? You got to label both points. You have to subtract. You have to put things in specific places. Let me show you on number 2 a different way to do this that produces the same result with less effort. Okay, so that was number 1. Okay, number 2. Let's see. So what I want you to do for number 2 is I want you to start by rewriting it like this. 1, comma, negative 19, and negative 2, comma, negative 7. So stack them, okay? Write one above the other. Rylan? Okay, so you're just going to stack them on top of each other. Any guess as to what I'm going to do next?
Subtract.
I'm going to subtract. Okay, what is 1 minus negative 2? Minus a negative is what, Landon? Add. Minus a negative is add. So what's 1 plus 2? 3. Comma. Negative 19 minus negative 7. Alexis, negative minus a negative is?
Positive.
Add. So negative 19 plus 7 is? Negative 12. So it's very important, this next step. What is 3? It's which value?
3. Positive. X.
X. And this is y. The rule for slope says what over what?
Rise over run.
Rise over run. So which of those is rise? Negative 12 over 3.
And that's it.
And that's it. So this is much more simple, right, than the previous method, right? You don't have to worry about labeling anything. All you need to do is subtract the 2 points and then put them in the correct position. Yes, sir.
Would we reduce them down to like a positive number, like in this case negative 4?
So negative 4 is definitely not a positive number, but
Or that's
what you're asking is, do you want to reduce this? And so I would say that what I would do is say, what goes into both of those things, and you answered it already, is 3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is?
4.
Negative 4 and 1. I would write it like that. And the reason I would write it like that is because we still have a value for run. Right? If I do away with the 1, I may think that there's no movement in the x direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this again with number 3. Did everyone get that? Okay. So first thing for number 3, stack the 2 points. So stack the 2 points. Number 3. Let's stack the 2 points. We have negative 4, comma 7, negative 6, comma negative, oh, I'm not stacking. Stack them, negative 6, comma, negative 4. Believe it or not, I didn't learn this until I had taught algebra for a few years and another teacher showed me this. So even myself, I didn't know this growing up at all. I never even heard of this way of doing things. But it makes a lot of sense because all we're doing is finding the difference.
Yeah, I did something wrong.
You did something wrong? Okay.
Right there.
Yes. What is minus a negative? Minus a negative.
Negative minus a negative is positive.
Negative. No. Minus a negative is a positive. Minus a negative is a positive. So, negative minus negative 6 becomes plus 6. Minus negative 4 becomes plus 4. So, what is negative 4 plus 6? 2.
Wait, what?
It's negative plus. Oh, do I need to go back?
Okay, never mind.
Negative 4
What is minus a negative? What you said was a negative minus a negative is a positive. That's not always the case. If you do negative 100 minus negative 3,
okay.
that's still negative 97, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So negative 4 plus 6 is what? 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. Now we have to arrange them in order. Okay, that looks like 2 x's. Okay, so we have 2, 11. So our slope, m, equals what?
11 over 2.
11 over 2. Okay, try number 4. And once again, if you want to use the other method, you can use the other method. On the state test, right, they're going to give you the formula. They're going to give you that. So you can either remember to stack or learn the formula as well, which means you just need to figure out how to plug things in. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I think is the best way for you to remember how to do it, which I think is just stacking and subtracting. So the points are 28 and 9, 16.
I think I did it wrong again.
No, that was
Wait,
right.
so it's
That was right.
subtracting?
Okay. Okay, so put the 11 back because that was good. And then once that minus 16.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we always subtract?
That's a negative.
It will be. Yeah, good. So we have 20 minus 9, which is what value? 11.
Oh, that's what I did wrong.
And we have 8 minus 16. 8 minus negative 8.
Such a genius.
Okay, and once again, we just stack them and we're done. Negative 8 over 11. Okay. So, both ways of finding the slope with a graph, you just draw your triangle, your right triangle, and then count rise over run. Hold
Wait,
on.
so-
And then for the points, you simply stack them, subtract down, and make sure y over x. Now, if you haven't noticed already, the back is the answers for this page.
Yeah.
So I would like for you to